Hi guys, what's popping? What is crackalakin? Welcome to Will You Be Our Guest first episode, the show where we'll bring you the realest conversation, have the dopest guests, and also the vibes some vibes we all need.
And today, trust me, you are not ready for what we're going to stuff for you. We've got in the building the UI guy, the man who turns boring screens into magic and is raising the next generation of designers.
You already know he's about to be a mad vibes. We got into his journey. We're going to have his struggles and also his wins. All the basketballs of being a designer in Nigeria. So don't go anywhere.
Grab your favorite snack
And
and
let's
let's dive
dive
into
into
the
the
world
world
of
of
design,
design,
vibes, and everything in between.
Welcome. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Thank you very much.
Thank you for gracing us with your presence.
It's my pleasure.
Anyways, so today's all about you, and we want to get to know you. We want to get to know about your struggles and little more secrets that you need to tell our guests. So who is the UI UX guy?
All right. So, firstly, I want to appreciate the team for having me on the space. My name is Nelson, and I'm a senior product designer based in Nigeria. So I've worked with different companies before now. So currently I work as a senior designer at Sish. So Sish is a tech consulting company based in Washington DC. So I've been building different screens, solving user problems, and all of that. So I think that just brief summary about myself. Oh wow, I'm totally blown away. So let's dive straight into the design. So what misconception do people generally have about UI UX design? Okay, so first thing first, I would say um, people think design is just all about pretty things, designing just fancy designs, but I think there's more to that actually. Right, so when you talk about design, you talk about research, you talk about strategy, you talk about um, some user experience that comes into design. So it's not about just jumping right into the whatever team, whatever tools you are using just to design. So there's more to it. And then another misconception I would say is that some tends to think UI UX design is graphics design. No, there's difference between them, right? So when you talk about UI UX design, there's more to it, right? There's a lot of people you collaborate with. You collaborate with the front end developers. You collaborate with the back end developers. You collaborate with, your project manager, your stakeholders, and of course, there are a lot of design process that comes into UI UX design. Yeah. So I think that's more of the misconception I think people tend to have with it.
Okay. So why did you choose the name the UI US guy, and how has it shaped your journey so far?
Regarding that, I would say um, the name. It took me a while to get a unique name for myself, and then when I finally got it right, so I think the name is kind of unique, right? Why I say it's unique is that the name is simple, it's memorable. It's very very easy to understand, right? So when you think of UI UX design, you think of the UI UX guy, right? So it's more of it's kind of blends line in line, and then talking about how it has helped me in my field. I would say that no, it has helped me in the design industry community. It has helped me collaborate with a lot of people, both within and outside the country. Because when you think of, just like I said, when you think of UI UX design, you think of the UI UX guy. So it blends well with my passion, basically. That's incredible. A round of applause for the UI guy. It's not easy. It's not easy. Yeah. That's creative and also very insightful. So, what's one design mistake you see everywhere, and how would you fix it as a UI UX guy? Talking about design mistake, we see a lot of this every day, right? So I think one is having a lot of content, a lot of information on the screen, right? Because I don't know if it's only me, because there's some websites you play around with, right? You Okay. just for a moment, you pause and be like, what's going on this website? It's too rowdy. Yeah, of course, you'll be very, very confused. You'll be like, where is the navigation button? Where is the balance in this hierarchy? Yeah, so it's common basically. And then talking of how it can be, how it can be worked on right. I would say first thing first is, as a designer, right, you have to make sure that you understand the design principle. Design principle intends that you understand the principle of designs, balancing of hierarchy, prioritizing text, right? So maybe for example, we have the header, we have body text. So there's some websites you interact with. The header and the body text are just same thing. So everything just looks a little bit buggy. And then talking of navigation, right? The navigations buttons, navigations icons should be well, you know, well how do I put this now? So it should be well explanatory, right? So because for example, I want to go back to a previous time coming from. Let's make me to to have like an icon that is taking me to the next page. So it should be like a back icon, not an icon taking me to the to the next page. So I think these are the common things I think users get to you know get confused when interacting with the website. Then talking about how to you know how to come up with improving it, right? I think first thing is I would say using a well explanatory icons. Talking of text, there's some text that is text I mean that is not detailed enough. Maybe for example, I just purchase something online. I shouldn't be seeing a red icon, a red button, or a red text. Because yeah, when we talk about colors, we have psychology of colors, right? So the red means danger, right? We have the green that means success. So I'll be seeing something like green to give me the feel of, I just successfully purchased something, right? So I think that just, I mean, I can go on and on, but I just want
I mean, knowledge poor.
to.
Anyways, so if you were to design one particular app in Nigeria that Nigerians use daily, what would be the app?
I won't name the app specifically, right? Right. So I'm just exactly. So I'm just going to say most of the transportation websites or application in Nigeria are not well designed, right? Because most of them you just get to it, everything just looks a little bit custard, right? Because you be like, where is this test taking me to? Where is this button taking me to? Just like what I mentioned the other time, it's very, very important placing of your elements, right? Should be well placed. Talking of the text as well. So the text should be well explained. Maybe for example, you just purchase a ticket online,
Okay.
right? So I should be something like you have successfully purchased a ticket with a date, with the the booking date, the booking time, and all of that.
Yes.
So some might not give details to those type of
Yes.
text. So sometimes I just be like, so how do you expect me to
Understand and you know
understand
what I'm
when
booking.
you get right? And then I think for instance, for example, you just finish booking a ticket, right? So I should see like something like save those things into my draft, right? So that
Okay.
I can go over it and then know when next my book and my what's it called, my next trip is, right? So that's just what I could say about it. So I think we should improve more in designing our elements, understanding the design principles, right? So I think that does it.
All right, all right. Thank you very much for that insightful knowledge. So now we're going to ask something off the grid.
Okay.
So, what has been the craziest or funniest with feedback you have gotten from a client or a particular project?
Oh wow, that was a good question. I think I remember when I was working for a client. That was about 2 years ago. The client was a tech savvy, right? He does not really understand what design means. So he was telling me, I think the primary color I used for the project was purple, right? So I think she said something about, I mean, of course, it was a Nigeria client, right? So instead of like, can I make,
Always them.
yeah, so you say, can I make the purple more popular? I was like, for a minute I paused, right? I was like, what if I
Oh
make it
my god.
more popular? I was like, I should make it shine. I was like, what do you mean by making it shine? So, but
Pop.
then,
It's not popping.
yeah, it's not popping. So I said I should make it more popular. So I was like, for a minute I paused, right? So I mean, those are the fun. Sometimes I just sit down and then think of the whole store. I just laugh and be like, well, there are some clients there are some clients you encounter, right, regarding those stores. Yeah, so I think that's just the funniest thing I can just think of right now.
Yeah, thank you. So the way the world is going, our youth and
Mhm.
everything, everybody wants to learn one or two,
Of course.
right? So what's the fastest way you can tell someone with no experience in UI UX? Like what's that fastest thing you can tell someone that okay, I want to learn UI UX today and I don't have any experience? What will you tell that person?
So first thing first is me giving idea of what UI means and then what UX means. We're talking of UI. UI is user interface, right? Something you interact with, something you can see, something you can play around with. And then for the UX is the user experience.
Yeah.
So the experience is not something you can see; it's the experience you know something you experience while interacting with the website. Or let me not use website. Something you interact when you are playing around with a product. So it's not necessary to be a website or a design thing. So everybody experience user experience every every day of our life, right?
Yes.
So first is to break down those things, understand the difference between UI design, difference between UX design. So once you have like a clear understanding, then when you are designing, right, you understand that okay, I'm not designing for myself.
All
So
right.
in UI UX design, the user comes first because you
Yeah.
are designing for the billions and the millions of users out there. So think of it like, when the product is being launched, right? You're not the only one using it.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
yeah, when it's being launched on Play Store, App Store, it's going to be millions and thousands of users using out there. So I think in that way, when you have that at the back of your mind, you understand that when you are designing as well, you put them first.
All
So you
right.
don't think from your own perspective. Like I think the user should understand. What if the user did not understand? Because you're actually thinking of it because you've interacted with something similar to that before.
Okay.
There's some people they call billions users, right? They are the ones that have not even interact with
Okay.
designs or anything tech savvy before, right?
All
So
right.
those are the ones that you design for them. You put them at the back of your mind. So once that is cleared, then you break down the color psychology, the
All
design
right.
principles, right? So design principle is about I think eight or thereabouts. So once they know this, because one of the UX theories says that and that was law of proximity. So it says that elements that are closer to each other tends to be group, right? Maybe for example, you have like a primary button that takes you to the next page.
Okay.
You have another one that says cancel. So those are grouped together, right? So
Yes.
you can either perform two operations on there. Either you go to the next page or you
Stage
cancel
cancel.
the particular transaction. So that's just so once you have a clear understanding of the difference between those two guys, and then the design principles,
All
because it's
right.
very very important. Just like I mentioned the other time, I said most of the websites you interact with, they are more of confusing, right? So we need to let people that are just getting started with design to understand
Design
these
principles.
principles, so that when they are designing, they can design to meet the user expectations.
Not just for themselves.
Yeah, yeah, not just for themselves. Thank you very much for that.
I feel like my head is going to explode at this point, but all right, let's keep it going. All right, so if I wanted to do like a speed train on learning UI UX, how would you teach me UI UX in, let's say, 30 seconds or in one word?
So for that, I would like to do that visually. It's not something I can just teach on the space. So there are some things I'm going to show you. Probably give you a sample of a website that is ugly. Give you a sample of an website that is well designed. Then I will ask you to spot the difference between these two things. Even for someone that is not used to design, you can tell me that this button is red, this one is too red, this space is too much, right? Something like that. So once you get that idea, right, to be able to be like, okay, so those are the principles of what you should know. So with that, then the experience comes in, right? Show you some applications that okay, this is the work of a UI UX designer. This is what it looks like. This is the nitty gritty of what comes into play when designing.
All right.
So, this question is for everybody
Okay.
because as we're in Nigeria
Mhm.
and you're a Nigerian, problem to Shele.
Mhm.
So, what's the most frustrating part of being a designer in Nigeria? That's frustrating thing that and because I did Nigeria and this thing they happen. What's that most frustrating part of being a Nigerian?
um, that's a good question. Everybody, not even in the design space, in the tech space, right? When you're from Nigeria, there is this sense that I could pay you less, but I want
More
a
work.
exactly an experience of someone with maybe 10 years, 15 years of experience, and then you're offering me penny, right? I think I had a recent experience with with a Nigeria, they always, I mean, so with a Nigeria client, it's more of a startup, right? So you're
Yes.
telling me you want to work on a startup project for a fintech company, right? So I gave him a card rate, and the first thing you told me was that you're like, this price is too much, oh. I mean, the way you put it, I was like, this type of client is not the person I can work with. I mean, I kind of have the idea of what I'm going to meet, right? I mean, those type
kind
of
of
clients are very, very
kind
frustrating
of
because
voila, it felt.
I mean, those type of clients where when you get started with the project, they will keep on, coming in with design changes, and then
Mhm.
they won't be ready to pay more because in the contract you told me that this is what I'm going to be working on, and then I charge you based on my rate card. So I know when you get to the middle of the project, they'll be like, I think we need to ship this particular feature in. We need to ship this particular feature in, and then realize that this was not what is in the contract. Then there's going to be like a lot of back and forth, right? So
Yeah.
I did, when it comes to working with clients, one thing I've known is that I try to read their use of language,
Okay.
their tongue as well. So when you talked about you know that type of money, I was like, no, this is not the type of money I can work with. So that's just it basically. It's very, very frustrating.
All right. Thank you very much. So let's also dive a little bit into the UI UX guy as a person. If you were not the UI UX guy, what would you have been, or what do you think you could have been instead?
Um I mean, if I was not doing anything related to design, right?
Yes, if your path did not cross with product design.
Um okay. Probably I might be writing codes.
Hmm.
Because right for my brother is a it's an engineer, as a front end engineer, right?
Okay.
So when I wanted to get started with my tech journey, that was what I get started with at first.
Oh,
But then I
nice.
realized that this might not.
It's,
Yeah, do you get right? So I took those courses, but like it's not
it
really
didn't
coming
vibe,
up
it didn't
together.
click
So
with you.
yeah, so I made some research and then come across UI UX design and all of that. But I didn't come across anything as such. I mean, it's like a do or die affairs because my focus then was that it's either I do tech or nothing,
Hmm.
right? So I mean, I was just going to dive in and then just look up.
Shane at the year, do tech or nothing.
Yeah, so that was like the mindset I have for things basically.
All right, thank you very much.
Mhm.
So let's start wrapping up the session, not to keep our viewers waiting too much. So what advice would you give to your 18-year-old self? As seeing where you stand today, what advice can you give to your 18-year-old self?
Okay, talking about I mean that was a good question you asked there. I would say, hmm, I mean, get started with things early,
Okay.
right? So one thing I would say my mentor basically, one thing he used to tell me is that he said, I should make those sacrifices at the early stage, right? Because it's best to start early. I have some of the people we ought to have being same level or same thing, same category in tech, right? But then they feel like, I mean, I can start tomorrow. The best time to start is now.
Procrastination is a thief of time.
Exactly. Thank you very much for that. So you could say I will start tomorrow. I will start. No, the best time is to start now. Right. So I would say get started. Be committed to whatever you get going on. And of course, there are going to be challenges, right? So the challenge is going to come. The obstacles is going to come. I mean, there are some points that you just lose motivation, right? So you just have to keep yourself motivated, right? So I think that's just it.
Okay. So if you are not doing UI UX, if you are not the UI UX guy, what exactly do you do outside designing pages and being a designer?
Okay. So for fun, I think that's going to be um probably I would say
When they think,
I did think because I've locked up a long wow. No, you see how this football of a thing is not really my thing.
wow,
Yeah, so okay, so let me say um probably shooting videos.
content creating.
Yeah.
Maybe just post for me.
So over time now I found myself shooting content, but I really don't have the time. But it's something I kind of you know
You know.
love now, right? So So I say
So you're
shooting
saying we'll
content.
see you more in our videos.
Um, yeah, let's see how it goes, right? So yeah, so shooting content, I'm more of being a video director. Yeah, so I love like standing behind the camera, just make those position and all of that. And then I would say, probably also tutoring, right? Tutoring. So it's not generally has to be with design, right? Yeah, I just like sharing knowledge of what I think someone ought to have known. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right, so that has been an insightful session. It's been wonderful having the US guy around. I mean,
Yeah.
it's an informative, mind blowing. My brain not the odds, but
Too much knowledge.
it's not
You
easy.
guys.
So thanks for coming on the show. We really appreciate you, and we hope to be seeing you more. So, guys, we are still the Six Sense. Please like
Share,
and subscribe.
subscribe.
I will be seeing you on the next one.
Thank you.